Hello everybody, this is LA and this is a more detailed look at the trading signals, how they work, what they are, what they're used for, how you might want to use them, and so forth. So a more detailed look, if you will. Of course, on the TA Today page, if you come in here and you come to the tools, pull this down. One of the options is trading signals. This is only available, of course, if you're a member. But by clicking on that, you can get to the page. Now, what are trading signals? There are always many uh, possibilities of what you can and can't invest in. And what you choose to invest in, really, you want to focus that as best as possible on those things that are most ready to move. And so the trading signals, as you can see here, are a lot of various stock signals that have been created. They're created on a daily basis. Intermediate ones are created on a weekly basis, and long-term ones on a monthly basis, first of the month. What they are is based, they're signals that are based on the concepts that were introduced in the third book, Trend Trading Setups. And what that book did is it said, okay, we know that trend has an effect on stocks. We know the probabilities associated with that. What are the common characteristics for trades that have the potential to be great? Knowing that we only have two types of trades. Those two types of trades are either breakouts or retraces. And they don't always appear, right? For example, the previously issued is any signals that were issued previously that are still in effect but weren't issued yesterday, in today's signals. And so these are existing ones, and in this case we had some potential bullish ones. We had potential bullish ones today. Yesterday or previous to this, we had some potential bearish breakouts, whereas today there is a potential bearish breakout. Let's see here, one of them's missing. There's a retrace bearish, a retrace bullish, and we don't have a potential retrace bullish on today's signals. So as you can see, you really essentially have those things that have happened, those things that are about to happen, and that's the genesis of the signals. Now, if we move over and look at the signals themselves are going to be broken down into these characteristics. For example, if I click on bullish breakout, it will show me all of the breakout signals that are bullish as of today, and it will generate just those. All of these will be bullish breakouts. So in other words, it filters down to just those. If we clicked on any of those, it's going to filter us down to just those types of signals. So example, I just clicked on bullish breakout potential, and that's what we get. Now if I go to previously issued, then I'm going to only see those previously issued ones, and that filters it. So in other words, this is your filter criteria. In terms of other filter criteria available to you, you can create your own. I have a few saved up. For example, I always look at anything where volume and the close was greater than 5, and what I'm saying is I want a price greater than 5, and I want volume also greater than 50,000, and so I filter on that. You can create those filters yourself by coming in here, selecting one of the criteria that show up over here. Any of these criteria show up in this box. You can pick any of them. For example, let's just say I only want time frame where the time frame is equal to, and then of course I would look over here to see what the values can be. So let's say I only want intermediate term time frames, and if I submit that, then that will filter now on just intermediate, and because I'm doing this on a day other than when intermediates were generated, I'm not going to see any. And so you can filter, you can remove filters, you can save your filters. In this case, I'll just clear the form, and I'll push back and go back to one of my own filters, and then it will regenerate the screen for me. So that's the filtering capability. You can create your own filters, save them, and so forth. One of the great things about the tools before we actually get into the signals here is, you have the ability to, anything you're looking at, you have the ability to save it off to a watch list. And so, for example, if I came in here, clicked a few of these and said, okay, I want to save these to a watch list, I could go down and pick my watch list, and I'll use just my temporary one. And then I could say add to the watch list, and it's going to take those two symbols and it's going to take and put those onto my watch list, right? So those, the integration of all these tools via watch list is apparent and available and very useful, and that's just one of the integrated features we have with all the TA Today tools. It's a very powerful feature. Now let's get into the signals themselves real quick. If we look at these signals, and let's just click on one of them, the first thing it's going to do is it's going to pop up a chart of that particular stock that we just clicked on, and it's going to pop it up on, and this is a bearish, so what you're going to notice here is that this thing has turned, it has transitioned because it said it was a bearish breakout. So let's review the signal right quick. It's a bearish breakout was triggered, okay, on the short-term time frame. So when we look at it, we can see the green arrow down. It's broken below two swing point lows, and so it's a bearish breakout. We can also, or what actually happens when we click on that, is we get all three time frames. So you get it on the weekly, the daily we just saw, you also get it on the monthly, and then you also get the trading cube so that you have a visual, real quick visual of where this thing stands overall. It's in this sector, it's broken out, it's sideways on the intermediate, it's still bullish on the long term, and you can see that here. So the signals that are generated are easily used, via the charts to look at it across all time frames. So one of the things I do is I reduce my filter to those things I care about, and I come in here and I just start clicking on these charts and I start flipping through them, looking at them, right? Here's one that we just saw, here's another one, you can see the breakout, and I quickly can scan 50, 100 charts in a matter of 5 or 10 minutes to find those that look very interesting. As I go through them, I'll click on them and say, okay, that one is worth putting on a list, so is this one, so forth, right? And that gives me the ability to quickly build up watch list that I can then monitor over time. What are the signals that are generated currently? They're these. We do add more over time, but it essentially tells you how many criterion were met, what were the possible criterion that could be met, what's the short interest ratio, the 60-day volume, average volume. If we can determine an ABCD, it's determined what time frame is it on, what sector is it in. Those things all pop up. Now, if you want to understand what those criterion are, you want more details, you just click here on Signal Help. It will actually pop you to, in this case, a bearish breakout, and tell you what all the criterion were that needed to be met. And it said it met 8 of the 10, 8 of these were met. And so you can see the details of how these signals are generated. If you have enough criteria, and it has to be 80% or more, that generate a signal, then it will show up over here on the trading signals. If it's less than 80%, it won't show as a signal. And so this gives you the details of what those criterion are, and then of course they pop up here when they are a signal. So it's a very powerful tool to get you to those stocks for this day that are generating signals that potentially the stock could end up being a great trade. That's the trading signals, that's how it works. This is a good introduction, I believe, to it. Hopefully you'll find it useful and valuable to you in your trading endeavors. Thanks. Take care.